Hello, sixth graders, and welcome to Valley View. My name is Mr. Lowe. I'm the Dean of Students. I work in the office, and I've got the Wizard Bear here, and I was asking him if you guys are going to have a great school year. He shook his magic 8-ball up, and it said, yes, definitely. So that's awesome news. But first, before we're going to have a great school year, we've got to go over some of the expectations and procedures that we need for the cafeteria. So follow with me for a little while here. Let's take a few minutes, and we'll get these out there so that everyone's on the same page. So first and foremost, expectations. We have a phenomenal cafeteria, right, in terms of behavior and how it looks and how it goes. And we pride ourselves in that, and we're going to keep it that way. One of the ways we keep it that way is we really focus on kids acting out their true character. This quote, "The truth of your character is expressed through the choice of your actions." Right? So we expect your actions to fall in line with what we need our cafeteria to look like. And the way we emphasize that is through the I care values that many of you have learned in elementary schools going through the Edina system. And if you haven't, that's fine. But they stand for integrity, compassion, courage, commitment, appreciation of diversity, and responsibility. You're going to learn about our norms at Valley View, but they all come back to these values. So I care about myself in the cafeteria when these are some things we want you to focus on, when I make healthy food choices. We as a school expect you to make healthy food choices, so does the government. In fact, they tell us that you have to take certain foods from each food group. So we have cafeteria workers that are going to tell you that you may have to take a fruit or a vegetable in order to make those healthy choices. So make sure that you're following those guidelines, you're listening to those cafeteria workers, because their job is to help you make sure you're making that good choice. I care about myself when I engage in conversations with others. You are interesting. Don't be afraid to dive into conversations or sit with people that you may not normally sit with. That is an important thing. I care about myself when I eat my lunch and food in the lunchroom, even if that's a place that you might find hard, especially these first days of school. If you're new, we expect you and we want you to be in that cafeteria, engage with other students so you can make those social connections. And I care about myself when I leave my technology behind. Our sixth grade experience in our cafeteria is technology free. That means your phones aren't coming out, your laptops, your Chromebooks aren't coming out. It's technology free so that you can engage in those conversations that are important at the middle school level. I care about others when I treat others the way I wish to be treated, the golden rule. That's the most important one for you to think about in your experience as how you're treating other people. I care about others when I practice patience. So we walk to lunch and we wait in line, no budging. I care about others when I listen to the adults. There'll be supervisors and security personnel in the cafeteria to ensure that you have a good lunch experience, and we expect you to listen to those adults. Say please and thank you. The workers that are here to make your life easier, so respect them, please. Keep your volume at an appropriate level. All right? We want to keep it, as I say, at a coffee shop level. There's going to be a lot of kids in the cafeteria, and if everyone is screaming or shouting, it will be impossible to hear, and your lunch experience will be miserable, I promise. So we all keep our voices at an appropriate level. We welcome others to sit, right? I care about others when I welcome them to sit with me, be inclusive, so that everyone has a chair, everyone has a spot to be. And ensure that food and garbage remains flightless, right? We want no flying food or garbage. It must stay on our tray, on our table. This is critical. Lastly, I care about others when I clean up my table area. You and the people that you choose to sit with are responsible for your area. It needs to be as clean as it was when you came before you leave the cafeteria. Our security personnel and our staff will make sure that that happens, but we need you to work with us to ensure that. I care about Valley View when I clean up my table area. Again, that's not just caring about others, but that's caring about the school itself. When I use proper recycling, organics, and garbage bins, right? When you're dismissed to leave the cafeteria, those will be well labeled, and I'll show you a picture of that in just a second. When I let custodians know of spills ASAP, as soon as possible. In a moment, you're going to come to the cafeteria and meet our custodians there, who are phenomenal, and they're awesome, and they're always willing to help. You need to work with them, though, and treat them respectfully. They're there to clean up spills, particularly accidental spills, right? They're not there to clean up your mess when you're just being messy. But talk to them about that if you spill something or have an accident, and they will help you out. I care about Valley View when I stay in my seat, right? That means in the cafeteria, but also not leaving the cafeteria. If you need to leave, you need to check in with an adult. If you need to go to the bathroom or the nurse, check in with an adult. We don't just get to walk out and wander around the school because other grades are learning while you're having lunch. Also, you care about Valley View when you remain in the cafeteria until dismissed. Our policy is that you and your friends will stay at your table until an adult dismisses you and ensures that you've picked up all the stuff that you need to get rid of. We're not leaving as soon as you see the first table leave. You're leaving as soon as an adult dismisses your table. So what does the process look like? In a moment, you're going to be dismissed, and it's going to look different today, but on a typical day, you would walk. Remember, we practice patience to the cafeteria. Those of you that are getting, that brought your own lunch, you can just enter right through the double doors and go find a seat. You can sit wherever you want to in the cafeteria, except for today. Today we'll be sitting by advisory. Most days you can sit wherever you want. If you're going to get hot lunch, you will get in line around this barrier, and there will be a staff member, a security person. His name is Michael, and he will be there to let students in a few at a time so it doesn't get too congested. So there's no budging, and we're going to be patient and make sure we're listening to that adult. Once you enter the cafeteria, there will be some trays for you to grab, and there'll be different options, different entrees that you can grab as you go through. There'll be cafeteria workers to help you. We talked about healthy food choices. This is a poster that will be up. I'm not going to go through it all with you, but it outlines the types of food that you need to take as you go through the cafeteria. Simply, this is called a combo meal. Most of you have an account that requires you to get a combo meal. What that means is you get an entree, and you get a minimum of 2 sides, whether that's fruit and vegetable. You could get a third side if you wanted to, and milk can be chosen, but you must get a combo meal. If you don't get those things, the cafeteria workers will ask you to go back and get one, or they'll have fruit or something like that right as you're checking out so you can grab something. If you don't get any sides, some of you, if you have a combo meal plan, that means you won't be able to get the food and you have to go back and get it. Some of you that have an a la carte plan, you might not have to get sides, but if you don't get the sides, it makes your meal more expensive and you get less food. So don't do that. Get your fruits and your vegetables, and the cafeteria workers will help you out with those things. After you get your food, you'll go through the lunch line, and you'll use your PIN number in order to get your lunch, which you'll be getting today. Right? You're going to get them today from your advisory teacher. Keep your PIN somewhere safe. Right? Don't write it down if you want, but make sure you don't lose it so you keep it safe because you're going to use it the rest of this year and throughout your career here at Valley View in the high school. Don't worry, though, if you forget it because there will be staff that will be there to help you. Our cafeteria workers can look it up for you. After you go through the line, there's a place to get condiments and forks and spoons and napkins and things like that. Those of you that have an a la carte plan, you can also go to the treats shack, as we call it, where you can get ice cream and different juices and different things like that. That is usually open for about half of lunch, right? So make sure you're not waiting until the very end. And then lastly, when you get dismissed or when you throw your things away, we will have our trash bins labeled with stickers, right? We expect students to put things in the correct space, right? So first and foremost, students typically will identify their recycling, any plastic bottles or any other containers that can be thrown away, not plastic bags. Then they'll identify any organics, whether that's a paper bag, a tray, or a boat that you got your food in, or any leftover food. And then also trash. Lastly, you can get thrown in there plastic bags, things like that. And then there will be a cart for you to put your tray on. Also, on top of this cart, but not in the picture, there will be a basket. We practice food rescue here. That means any food that you get from the cafeteria that is still packaged can go in this bin, and our cafeteria will reuse that or disperse it to people who are in need. All right, so this is cafeteria food that is prepackaged, that is not eaten in any way or drunk in any way. It can be also different fruits like a banana or an apple or things like that that can go in this food rescue bin so that we're conscientious about our food and making sure that we're not being wasteful. This is important, right? We only get one earth, and this quote that I want you to think about, it is just one person, right? It's you making a decision to put your stuff in the right spot, but never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has, and that was said by Margaret Mead, and what that means is if you and your friends can commit to putting things in the right spot when you're putting your recyclables and organics and garbage away, and everyone else does that, that is what actually makes a huge difference. So we expect you to do that. After lunch, you're going to go to your 1-2A class. Now that's today only. That is not how the schedule usually functions, but for today, after lunch, you'll go to your 1-2A class for shortened class periods. If you're confused by any of this, you can always ask an adult. You can talk to your advisory teacher right now, or you can talk to any adults that you see in the cafeteria. We love to help, and we're there to help you out. Thanks for paying attention and for listening, and thank you for helping to ensure that our cafeteria remains a great place to be. I look forward to seeing you up there in a couple minutes, where we'll go over a couple things and meet some important people that will help you along the way.